More. What if, before your feet touched the floor, your heart touched God? What if the first conversation of your day set a holy rhythm that no chaos could break? More. Imagine a morning where anxiety doesn't get the microphone and distraction doesn't get the steering wheel, because you started with the one who knows the way. More. Beginning your day with God isn't about adding pressure, it's about releasing it. It's not another box to tick. More. It's the box that holds all the others together. When you wake, the world will offer noise, notifications, headlines, more, worries waiting in the hallway of your mind. But you get to choose your first voice. Choose presence over panic. Choose communion over commotion. More. Choose to anchor before you answer. Start simply. Sit up, breathe, and say, "Here I am." Offer your schedule, your concerns, your hopes. More. Place your deadlines on the altar and watch them become lifelines. When you surrender early, you stop scrambling later. When you hand God your calendar, more, He hands you clarity. The storms may still come, but you'll stand inside them with a steadiness that surprises even you. Gratitude is your ignition key. More. Count what's already good: the breath in your lungs, the chance to begin again, the lessons from yesterday. More. The people you're privileged to love and serve. Gratitude doesn't deny reality, it reframes it. More. I have to, into I get to. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth and witness. More. A grateful heart can carry heavy loads without growing hard, because it knows it isn't carrying them alone. Guard your inputs. More. Feed your spirit before you feed your scroll. Let silence wash the dust off your soul. Whisper your real feelings, no filters, no performance. More. Sing if you can, sit if you must, but show up. When you meet God early, you don't walk into the day empty. More. You carry a fullness that spills into your words, your work, your patience with difficult people, your creativity. When the plan changes at 10 a.m., more, and again at 2, then move. Faith isn't only felt, it's walked out. Make one aligned decision, send the encouraging message. More. Forgive the offense that's been gnawing at your peace. Prioritize the task that truly matters. Step away from what dilutes your purpose. More. Small faithful steps set big divine momentum. The path often becomes visible only after you start walking. More. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start with a willing heart. Expect resistance and meet it with remembrance. When stress knocks, more, return to the morning posture. Breathe, invite, realign. When fear whispers, answer with the identity you received at sunrise: guided, held, sent. More. When interruptions multiply, see them as intersections, opportunities to bring the presence you cultivated into places that need it most. More. You are not just getting through the day, you are carrying light into it. Honor your body as part of your worship. Drink water. Stretch. More. Eat something that fuels, not fogs. Excellence is spiritual. Order is spiritual. Rest is spiritual. More. Your energy becomes an offering when you steward it wisely. And remember, kindness is a superpower. More. Start the day in God's presence, and you'll have more than enough kindness for the driver who cuts you off, the colleague who is short with you. More. The family member who needs more than you plan to give. Close your morning moment with intention. I will walk with you. Then keep the conversation alive. Turn errands into encounters, meetings into ministries, problems into prayers. More. Glance upward, not just when things break, but when they're beautiful. Celebrate small wins, the resolved conflict, the finished draft. More. The quiet moment you chose over the quick complaint. Let gratitude bookend your day the way it began it. So sunrise faith grows into sunset testimony. So, more, what will you do tomorrow when the alarm rings? Before you chase the day, choose to be led into it. Before you fill your hands, open them. More. Before you speak to the world, listen to the one who shaped it. If you will begin your day with God, honestly, humbly, more, consistently, you'll find that peace is not a place you visit, it's a presence you carry. And when you carry that presence, more, you don't just have a better morning, you become a blessing all day long. The first moments of your day are not just minutes, more, they are the seeds of your entire spiritual climate. Think about it. How often do you wake up and immediately rush into the noise of the world? More, the phone buzzes, worries creep in, unfinished tasks whisper your name, and suddenly you're already behind. But when you pause, more. When you choose to begin your day with God, you are not just starting a morning routine. You are shaping the atmosphere of everything that follows. More, your mind, your emotions, your focus, your resilience, and even the way you respond to challenges are determined largely by how you enter the day. More, just as a house stands firm when built on solid ground, your spirit stands unshaken when the foundation of your day is communion with God. More, the first minutes carry power. Science and psychology both affirm that the brain's state in the morning sets the tone for decisions, energy, more, and emotions throughout the day. But beyond science, there is a deeper reality. When you begin with God, you align yourself with divine order. More, you take your hands off the wheel for a moment and allow Him to drive. Instead of carrying yesterday's burdens into today, you lay them down. More, instead of rehearsing anxieties before breakfast, you rehearse faith. More, this simple act of turning your attention upward before you look outward determines whether you walk into the day reactive or proactive. More, whether you move in fear or in peace. It is no coincidence that the world fights hardest for your attention in the morning. More, because the enemy of your soul knows that if he can scatter your spirit early, he can derail your day. That is why discipline in the first hour is so vital. More, if you allow random distractions to be the first voices you hear, you surrender control. But if you anchor your heart in the presence of God, more, everything else is filtered through that strength. It doesn't mean the day will be free of problems, more, but it does mean you'll meet those problems with perspective. You will carry calm into chaos. You will hold peace in the presence of pressure. More, beginning your day with God is not about length of time, but about depth of connection. Even a few intentional moments can change the trajectory of your day. More, when your first words are words of surrender, gratitude, or worship, you remind your soul of who holds the day. More, when you deliberately fix your thoughts on God before the flood of emails, traffic, and deadlines, you bring order into what could become disorder. More, it is like stepping into armor before entering a battlefield. You are clothed in readiness, not naked in vulnerability. More, and what is most beautiful is that this practice is not for a select few who are naturally disciplined. It is for anyone willing to choose differently. More, it is for the busy parent, the overwhelmed student, the tired worker, the dreamer, the leader, the one who feels behind in life. No matter your season. More, beginning with God is your doorway to strength. If you feel you don't have time, that's all the more reason to start this way. More, because time with Him doesn't take away from your day. It multiplies it. It sharpens focus, calms worry, and strengthens patience. More, which in turn makes you more effective in every task that follows. So let this truth sink in. Your day is not defined by what happens to you, more, but by what happens within you before the world even sees you. When you wake and set your heart on God, you are declaring, more. I will not be ruled by circumstance, I will be ruled by peace. You are deciding that no matter what storms blow in, your anchor is set. More. And when your anchor is set at the start of the day, you cannot be easily moved. When you wake up in the morning, more, your mind is like fresh soil, ready to receive seeds that will grow into the experiences of your day. The question is, more, whose seeds will you allow to be planted first? When you choose to surrender your plans early and place them in God's hands, more, you are inviting divine wisdom to guide your steps before your own impulses take over. Too often, we rise with a checklist already screaming at us. More, tasks to complete, people to call, responsibilities pressing in, and in our rush, we think we must control everything, we must hold it all together. More. But surrendering your plans does not mean giving up your dreams or neglecting your responsibilities. More, it means shifting the weight from your shoulders to God's. It is an exchange of control for clarity, of anxiety for alignment. More, when you begin with surrender, your perspective changes. Suddenly, The meeting on your calendar is not just a task, but a platform to show integrity. More. The conversation you've been dreading is no longer just conflict, but a chance for peace to work through you. More. Even the small details of your day, what route you take, whom you bump into, what decisions you make, become opportunities to witness guidance at work. More. Surrender takes ordinary schedules and turns them into sacred assignments. Without it, we risk wandering through the day reacting instead of responding, more grasping instead of flowing. The beauty of surrender is that it doesn't shrink your plans, it sharpens them. When you release your agenda, more, you open space for clarity you could not have produced on your own. You stop forcing what isn't ready and start flowing into what is right. More, how many times have you planned something only to have it collapse, leaving you frustrated? And yet, more, how many times has an interruption turned out to be an unexpected blessing? That is the mystery of surrender. It turns detours into direction. More, when you allow God to guide your steps, you trust that even delays and disappointments carry purpose. More, you don't have to see the whole map to trust the one leading you. Surrender is also protection. Plans we cling to too tightly can become prisons, more locking us into expectations that blind us from better paths. When you wake up and say, "Here are my goals, my meetings, more, my desires, but I surrender them to you," you are protecting yourself from the weight of disappointment. Because if something doesn't work out, more, you know it wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Instead of carrying bitterness, you carry trust. Instead of fighting reality, you find grace in it. More, this early act of surrender gives you peace before problems even appear. Imagine stepping into the day knowing you don't walk alone. More, knowing you don't have to figure everything out. Knowing you are guided by wisdom greater than your own. More, that confidence doesn't come from planning harder, it comes from trusting deeper. More, it comes from handing over your pen and allowing God to edit your story as it unfolds. And here's the truth, He always writes with more beauty, more purpose, and more power than we ever could. So as you rise each morning, pause before you reach for your phone or your to-do list. More, take those minutes to surrender. Whisper your plans, your fears, your hopes, and then release them. Trust that guidance will meet you in every decision. More, in every step, in every challenge. For when you start your day surrendered, you don't walk in circles, you walk in purpose. And when you walk in purpose, more, even the smallest steps echo with eternal significance. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces you can choose to begin your day with. More, it has the ability to shift the atmosphere of your heart before the weight of the world even touches you. When your eyes open in the morning, more, the temptation is to think immediately of what you lack, what you have to do, or what might go wrong. But when you stop and choose gratitude first, more, you are declaring that no matter what lies ahead, there is already goodness in your life worth acknowledging. More, gratitude is not blind. It doesn't deny that challenges exist. It simply refuses to let them dominate the narrative. More, it turns your attention away from fear and towards faith, from scarcity to abundance, from pressure to perspective. More, beginning the day with gratitude unlocks clarity. A thankful heart is a clear heart. When you focus on what is already present and good, more, your vision sharpens. You see blessings you would have otherwise overlooked. You recognize opportunities that stress would have hidden. More, you understand that even the simplest gifts, the breath in your lungs, the sunlight through your window, more, the ability to rise and face another day, are not small things but reminders that you are sustained. More, clarity comes when your soul is no longer clouded by complaint, but lifted by thanksgiving. Gratitude also unlocks courage. More, fear thrives in an atmosphere of discontent, but courage grows where gratitude is planted. More, when you begin your morning by acknowledging how far you've already come, the obstacles ahead lose their power to intimidate you. More, gratitude reminds you that you've survived storms before, you've overcome trials, you've been provided for in times when you didn't see a way. More, that remembrance strengthens your backbone and fills your heart with courage to walk boldly into the unknown. It says, if I was carried through then, more I will be carried through again. Gratitude transforms past victories into present courage. And then there is calm. Gratitude soothes the restless spirit. More. Anxiety feeds on what you don't have or can't control, but gratitude anchors you in what is already here, already working, already good. More, when your day begins with calm, you are not easily shaken by interruptions or disappointments. Instead of reacting in frustration, more, you respond with patience. Instead of being tossed by every wave of uncertainty, you remain steady because your heart has been grounded in thanksgiving. More, gratitude is a quiet strength. It doesn't make headlines, but it makes peace possible. What makes gratitude so life-changing is its simplicity. More, it doesn't require wealth, perfect circumstances, or extraordinary effort. It only requires awareness and choice. More, you can choose to see the gift in the mundane, the blessing in the ordinary, the opportunity in the challenge. More, a thankful spirit doesn't wait for everything to be perfect before it speaks in the middle of imperfection, and in doing so, more, changes the atmosphere. Gratitude isn't about ignoring reality, but about reinterpreting it through the lens of faith. More, imagine starting every morning by listing 3 things you're grateful for. Some days they may be grand family health provision. More, other days they may be simple, the comfort of your bed, the sound of birds, the warmth of tea or coffee. But as you cultivate this daily rhythm, more, you'll find that your heart becomes lighter, your mind clearer, and your spirit stronger. Gratitude opens the door for joy to enter. More, and joy gives you strength to face anything that comes your way. So as you rise tomorrow, before you rush into the day's demands, pause and give thanks. More, let your first words not be complaints about yesterday or worries about tomorrow, but an acknowledgement of today's gift. More, for gratitude does more than shape your morning, it reshapes your life. When you begin with gratitude, you will discover that peace, courage, more, and clarity are not things you have to chase, they flow naturally from a heart that knows how to give thanks. More. The way you begin your morning determines the energy you carry into the rest of your day. Just as your body needs food for strength, more, your soul needs nourishment for direction, resilience, and peace. More. What you choose to feed your spirit with in the morning will either strengthen you for the battles ahead or leave you weak when challenges arise. More. That's why filling your mornings with stillness, worship, and honest prayer is so vital. It is the spiritual breakfast that sustains your inner life. More. When you start with silence, you create space for your heart to breathe. When you start with worship, you lift your eyes above yourself and your struggles. More. And when you start with honest prayer, you align your spirit with divine wisdom instead of carrying the weight of the day on your own. More. Stillness is not the absence of activity, it is the presence of peace. The world is loud, and if you let it, it will flood your mind the moment you wake. More. But when you choose stillness, you teach your soul to be calm before the noise even starts. You allow your thoughts to settle like water in a glass. More, becoming clear instead of murky. In that silence you can sense direction, hear truth more clearly. More, and separate what really matters from what only distracts. Stillness in the morning is like tuning your instrument before the song begins. Without it, more, the music of your day will sound chaotic, but with it, you move in harmony. Worship is the act of lifting your heart higher than your worries. More, it is choosing to focus not on what is wrong, but on the one who is greater than every wrong. When you worship, you reframe your day. Suddenly, more, deadlines are not as intimidating, conflicts are not as overwhelming, and problems lose their power to dominate your mind. More. Worship shifts your attention from, how will I get through this, to, I am not walking through this alone. It reminds you that your strength comes from a source far greater than yourself. More, and it doesn't require music or a crowd. It only requires your heart. A whispered song, a quiet word of love, More, or even a moment of awe as you look at the sky can be worship. It fills your spirit with joy that no circumstance can steal. More. And then there is prayer, not polished, not rehearsed, but honest prayer. The kind where you pour out what is heavy before you carry it into the world. More. The kind where you admit your weakness, your fears, your hopes, and your questions. More honest prayer is the exchange where you hand over your burdens and receive peace in return. More, it's where you stop pretending you can do it all and acknowledge your need for help. Too often, people think prayer must be formal or lengthy. More, but the most powerful prayers are simple and sincere. More, guide me today. Give me strength. Help me love well. These quiet requests open the door for divine presence to walk with you throughout the day. More. Filling your morning with these spiritual practices doesn't just make the start of your day better. It transforms the whole day. More. When you have been still, worshipped, and prayed, you don't walk into meetings with the same stress. More. You don't face interruptions with the same frustration, and you don't meet problems with the same fear. Instead, more. You carry peace where there would have been panic, patience where there would have been irritation, and strength where there would have been weakness. More. You become a carrier of presence, and people around you can feel it. This is why mornings are so critical. If you let them slip away in hurry, distraction, more, or complaint, you step into the day spiritually malnourished. But if you give them to stillness, worship, and prayer, you rise clothed in strength. More, you step out not only ready for what the day brings, but ready to bring something into the day, peace, light, and hope. More, and that is the true power of a morning filled with God's presence. It doesn't just change your life, it changes the lives you touch. More, every day presents you with dozens of decisions, some small and others that carry greater weight, but each one creates a path. More, the fifth keynote reminds us that taking small, faithful actions that align your schedule with your calling is what turns a day into a life of meaning. More often, we think that purpose is only found in big achievements, dramatic breakthroughs, or once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. But in reality, more purpose is lived out in the quiet consistency of daily choices. When you begin your day with God and invite Him into your schedule, more, the ordinary transforms into sacred steps. The meetings, the chores, the errands, more, the conversations, each becomes an opportunity to live aligned with who you are called to be. It is not the size of the action that makes it powerful, more, but the alignment behind it. A small act of kindness can ripple further than you know. More. A disciplined choice to complete the work in front of you with integrity strengthens your character. More, choosing to listen instead of rushing through a conversation plants seeds of love. These may not make headlines, more, but they are the bricks that build a life of purpose. Alignment means that your actions are not random, but directed. More. It means you're not simply filling time, but fulfilling calling. When you take time each morning to align your schedule with your higher purpose, more, you move from living reactively to living intentionally. Without alignment, the day pulls you in 100 directions. You respond to the loudest voices, more, the most urgent demands, the endless distractions. But when you begin centered, you choose differently. More, you choose what carries eternal weight over what is merely urgent. You discern what deserves your yes and what requires your no. More. This doesn't mean you ignore responsibilities, but that you approach them with perspective. More. Even the smallest tasks take on meaning when you see them as opportunities to reflect God's character. More, small faithful actions also train your spirit to be steady. Big leaps are rare, but daily steps are constant. More. If you wait for the perfect moment to act boldly, you may spend your life waiting. But if you commit to taking small, more steady actions, making time for prayer, speaking encouragement, practicing patience, handling money wisely, more, showing up with integrity, you create momentum. Momentum builds strength, and strength builds confidence. Over time, more, you will look back and realize that the small things added up to something extraordinary. Think about how a single seed, when planted daily, more eventually grows into a tree. At first it looks insignificant, even invisible, more, but consistent watering and faithful attention produce roots that can weather storms. In the same way, more, the small faithful actions of your day grow roots in your character. They prepare you for the storms of life, not by removing them, more, but by making you strong enough to stand through them. Aligning your schedule with your calling also brings peace. More. Much of our stress comes from trying to do everything instead of the right things. But when your schedule reflects your values, you find clarity. More. You're no longer torn between too many directions. You're walking the path laid out for you. More, this alignment removes the chaos of guessing and replaces it with the calm of knowing. You may still have a full schedule, more, but it won't be empty of meaning. So begin your day by asking, what small, faithful step can I take today that aligns with my purpose? More. It might be as simple as pausing to pray before a meeting, forgiving someone who has been on your mind, setting aside time for what truly matters. More, or handling one responsibility with excellence instead of rushing through it. These steps may feel ordinary, more, but they are the building blocks of extraordinary impact. In the end, it is not what we do occasionally, but what we do faithfully that shapes our destiny. More small aligned actions, repeated daily, transform an ordinary life into a meaningful journey. So when you begin your day with God, more, don't only think about what you must face. Think about how you can walk each moment in alignment with your calling. For in that alignment, more, every step, no matter how small, becomes sacred, carrying the presence you cultivated in the morning into every conversation, task, more. And decision is the true test of beginning your day with God. It is easy to feel peace in the quiet of your room, in the stillness of prayer, more, or in the warmth of worship. But the strength of that encounter is revealed when you step into the noise of the day. The emails waiting in your inbox, more. The deadlines pressing on your calendar, the traffic on the road, and the unpredictable interactions with people around you, more. The presence you carry is not meant to be left behind with your morning ritual. It is meant to walk with you, to breathe through you, and to shine from you, more. That presence becomes your compass, your shield, and your source of strength. When you carry the morning's presence, you enter your day differently. More. Conversations are no longer just exchanges of words, but opportunities to extend grace. Tasks are not just obligations, but acts of stewardship. More. Decisions are not just choices of convenience, but chances to live with integrity. The presence of God shapes the way you think, speak, and act. More. It softens your tone when anger tries to rise. It steadies your hands when anxiety wants to rush. More. And it gives you patience when frustration tempts you to react. In a world that often pulls people into distraction and negativity. More. Carrying the morning presence makes you a light in every room you enter. This presence is not about perfection, but about consistency. More. There will be moments when stress attempts to drown out peace, when unexpected news shakes your calm, or when someone's harsh words cut into your spirit. More. But when you have begun your day rooted in God, you have a well to draw from. You remember the quietness of the morning stillness, more, and you return to it in the middle of the storm. It may be a silent breath in the middle of a meeting, a whispered prayer while walking between tasks, more, or simply a moment of pausing before you respond. Carrying His presence doesn't mean you never feel shaken. More, it means you know how to return to center again and again. More. The beauty of carrying God's presence is that it overflows into the lives of others without you even realizing it. More. People will notice something different, not always in your words, but in your peace. They'll sense the calm you bring into chaotic moments. More. The kindness you extend when others are impatient, the hope you hold when others are discouraged. More. You may never know the full impact of simply showing up with God's presence alive in you. It can shift atmospheres, heal tensions, more, and even inspire faith in those who have lost their way. But carrying this presence requires intention. It doesn't happen automatically. More. That's why your morning practice matters. It's the fuel that sustains you through the day. If you neglect to fill your spirit early, more, you will find yourself running on empty when challenges come. But when you've been filled, you don't run out easily. More, every task, whether big or small, becomes infused with purpose. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reflect love. More, every decision becomes a chance to choose integrity over compromise. More, carrying God's presence throughout the day also means learning to see interruptions not as annoyances but as invitations. That unexpected phone call, more, that colleague who needs more time than you planned, that child who interrupts your work. These moments may feel inconvenient, more, but they are often the very places where His presence is most needed. If you can pause long enough to remember the morning's posture, more, you can bring light into places you didn't plan to go. At the end of the day, when you look back, more, you'll realize that carrying God's presence was not about avoiding difficulties. It was about facing them differently. More, it was about walking with strength you didn't have on your own, about extending love where it wasn't deserved. More, and about making choices that aligned with your calling. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. The morning becomes not just a moment, more, but a movement that carries through your entire day. So, as you rise each morning, more, don't just invite God into the first moments. Invite Him into all of them. Let His presence accompany you into the workplace, the marketplace, more, the family table, and even into the quiet corners of your mind. For when you carry the morning's presence into the day, more, you don't just live another routine, you live a testimony. You don't just get through the hours, you transform them. And in the end, more, you realize that beginning your day with God was never meant to stay in the morning. It was meant to guide every step until the day is done. More, everything we've spoken about comes down to one truth. How you begin shapes how you continue, and how you continue shapes how you finish. More, beginning your day with God is not a ritual to impress Him, but a rhythm that transforms you. It is choosing alignment over anxiety, clarity over confusion, more, gratitude over complaint, peace over panic, and presence over pressure. It is not about perfection, but about posture. The posture of a heart that says, more, I cannot walk this day in my own strength, but I know who walks with me. When you wake and offer your first thoughts, your first words, more, and your first steps to God, you are sowing seeds that grow throughout the hours ahead. Those seeds become patience in conflict, wisdom in decisions, more, kindness in conversation, and courage in difficulty. And as you remain faithful to this daily beginning, you will notice something powerful. More, you are no longer just surviving your days, you are transforming them. You are no longer just reacting to life, you are shaping life with purpose. More, so let each sunrise be a reminder that you are given another chance to align with what truly matters. More, let your mornings be the altar where you lay down your worries, your ambitions, and your schedules, and in return, pick up peace, direction, and strength. More, carry what you receive into every place you go, so that the presence you begin with doesn't stay behind but walks with you, flows through you, more, and touches others around you. If you begin your day with God, you will end it with peace, knowing that your steps were guided, your heart was anchored, more, and your life was lived with meaning. And that is the greatest gift of all, to walk each day not just by the ticking of a clock, more, but by the steady rhythm of His presence.